What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Verdependent podcast, where we depend on the Verde and Black for our everyday vibes. This week, we're launching preseason predictions, giving our
Yeah, we
first
are.
impressions of Serie A and J1 League, and doing our first reveal and react of 2025, before closing out the episode with a stoppage time rundown of the hottest Austin FC, MLS, and World Footy storylines of the past week. I'm Logan Bartlett, aka Lobar.
Bro, you ate that, fool. And I'm Paul, a.k.a. Low Paul.
I'm locked in, bro. I'm locked in
No,
right
you
now.
are so locked in right now.
All right, we are 82 episodes into this podcast
That's
and are
crazy,
now in
dude.
our third season covering Austin FC. I'd wager it's about time we add some consistency to kick these episodes off. So, week to week, Paul and I will give you, the listener, our most uninformed takes for the upcoming week, or in this case, season. Paul, start us off with our first official uninformed take brought to you by the vibes of this exact moment.
This exact moment, dude, here's what I'm telling you right now. For the first ever uninformed take on the Verdependent podcast. He's not even here right now, but I'm going to tell you right now, Mirto Izuni will reach 10 MLS goals and assists by May.
Now, are you saying by
10,
May
10
31st
GA.
or May 1?
No, I'll stand on business, bro. That's May 1. May
That's like,
1.
how many games is that? How many? That's 22nd.
Actually, I'm leaving a
There's
lot on the
8.
table there because there's what, like how many games in May? It's like 7.
Yeah, we have a shit ton of games.
May's like a busy month.
Yeah. Hey,
But he's going to be busy before then.
I'm not even going to look it up. That's like maybe 10 games.
We're going to track these, by the way. So
yes. We will.
Yes.
Make a note of that somewhere because I'm going to forget the moment we move past this.
Absolutely.
So,
But Lobar, what you got?
okay. I like that. That's a strong take. I love it. That's very uninformed. My first ever official uninformed take is Austin will have at least 2 MLS All-Stars this season.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is, 1, because I'm a dumbass, but 2, because the way I think about this is right. We have a 1 in 3 chance that one of these DPs will actually do something. I am confident that this team is going to do well this year.
Yeah.
And given that, I think we're going to get at least one DP as an All-Star. Now, the second one, I'm looking at like a John Gallagher kind of guy, right?
Okay.
A left back, a right back, a Dessler, a Bidu, a Danny Pereira, a guy who's playing a position where historically, if you get good counting stats, you're going to get a look. You know, if you're leading the league in goals and assists at left back, you're probably going to be an All-Star just because those are good counting stats.
Correct.
So I'm assuming a guy like Bidu, Dessler, Galley, Danny, whoever ends up starting and like overperforming.
Yeah.
Offensively.
Dude, there's so much I want to say to respond to that right now, but I think it's best to let these ride.
Okay.
But
I gave too much information for my uninformed take alone, but that's as far as how.
But I love it.
That's my rationale that I'm making up.
Yeah,
right now.
that's it.
I love it. Uninformed takes. We're gonna do this every week. It'll be more topical week to week.
Absolutely.
As we go into
yeah. And sometimes it'll be like directly involved like with performances on the pitch.
Yeah.
Other times it might be a take on, what the FO responds to, with the club, what have you. But yeah.
Yep. The number of times we do ATX in the South End in between like stoppages and stuff to just transition between songs. Like
yeah.
That kind of thing. Okay. Now let's get into it for real.
No, please.
We finally made it. Austin FC is just 2 weeks from their opening match, and to prepare, they are kicking off their second run at the Coachella Valley Invitational. Yes. Austin FC is scheduled to face MLS Cup champion LA Galaxy, St. Louis City SC, and Charlotte FC in Southern California before heading home to host Nashville SC at Q2 on February 15th. Word on the tweets is that the LA Galaxy and St. Louis City matches will be live streamed by the club, and word on the street is that the Fighting Leslie's Drinking Club will be hosting a cross-supporters group watch party this Saturday at Turnstile from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. to hang out, do kind of like a sale,
like garage sale kind of vibe. Yeah.
Yep. When people bring your stuff, sell things, jerseys, scarves, whatever else it may be, watch the game, drink some drinks, have a good time. Paul and I may make our way up there. We do have our co-ed rec game at noon that day. So if we do, it'll be at the end of the game, hang out for an hour or so as things are winding down. So no guarantees depending on how hard we stunt for our team, but we hope to be there for a little bit. back to the preseason though. Let's make some bold predictions here. This time it's a bold prediction, not an uninformed take, right?
Correct.
Paul, start us off. What is one bold prediction you will make going into these preseason matches?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna say that one bold prediction for these preseason matches, specifically in Coachella, we're gonna see.
Take your time.
I'm scared. Dude, to say
it's just a bold prediction. It's nothing to be scared about.
But it's bold, dude. So you know what? No, I gotta be brave. No, I really do think that in this invitational, we're gonna see, oh my gosh, goals from Austin FC 2 players that are not gonna feature on the first team.
That like Jimmy kind of stand out.
It's gonna be like that Jimmy. It'll be like the Irvin Torres kind, like a performance where it's like he'll score, but like he'll see, he might actually see some limited minutes this season. I feel like, but it'll be whoever is remaining on trial or whatever, they'll score some bangers. We'll be like he's him, and we'll never suit up for the first team.
Yeah, that's a fair take given the history of this squad. We've done that pretty much every preseason. So
yeah,
for me, I'm looking at Osman Bukhari, our first DP of the three that we now have, right? He's the longest tenured DP. I am looking at him as the standout leader for our offense on this team. I think he proves that the offense flows through him and that Vasquez and Uzuni and everyone else in the club will be the beneficiary of many balls from Bukhari. So I think this is his preseason to show like, hey, I'm the guy. I was brought in. Didn't get the chance to show off as well. I didn't have as much offensive firepower at the end of my passes as I do now. And you give me pieces to play with, and I'm going to play well. So
for sure,
I think he shows this is his club offensively, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, man.
Match predictions, Paul. Are we 4-0 in the preseason when come February 16th, or does it look a little different?
I'm gonna guess that we're gonna go 2-2. I get the feeling we're gonna do something with LA Galaxy. I feel like I'm not gonna say where. But I feel like 2-2 is gonna be a good spot for us.
Overperform sometimes, underperform other times.
Let's
say that. For me, I'm looking at
and a draw.
I'm looking at 2-1-1. I think that's like my moderate take. I think we'll win. I think we'll go 1-1-1 in Coachella, and we'll win the Nashville game at Q2.
Yeah,
having a small watch party, most likely in the Verde store on the stairs. They'll have some supporters. They'll be able to hear a little bit of cheering here and there. Yeah. I think we'll go 2-1-1 this offseason and not have any complaints about it, or this preseason.
Heck yeah, man.
This 4-0 in my heart, though.
Right. You did just remind me that I do need to go on Amazon and look at the prices for one of those like the
Vuvuzela,
not Vuvuzelas. For the listener, I'm over here like putting like a telescope to my face.
Yeah, the Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. You know, that single binocular, whatever. Yeah. So that way we can go up to that apartment complex, that garage up there, and then look down into Q2.
Oh, here we'll do this. We'll go to the we actually don't know what it's called now, the Zebra Gate, but whatever it is now, it's not that anymore. Go to that gate. I'll just go on your shoulders, and from that vantage point, I should be able to see the field.
Yeah.
And then we'll do like a cup to the ear thing, and I'll tell you everything that's happening.
That's it. Yeah. No, I love that. Let's do that.
Yeah, there you go. It's that easy.
You're about to be 6 foot, dude. You excited?
Those legs locked in because you're about to carry me for an entire game.
Oh man.
Moving on. Guys like Bukhari, Vasquez, Uzuni, Danny, Stuver, maybe even Dessler seem to be locks for the starting 11, or most of them are locks. Maybe Dessler's a little weird. You never know. But after that, it gets a little weird. The rest of the starting lineup and the first guys off the bench, who will earn their spot in the rotation this preseason?
Gotcha. Oh gosh, man. See, I feel like for this preseason, especially these last couple of matches with Coachella coming in, I think we're going to see a lot of unfamiliar names still that are going to be in the lineup because this is that time to have a look at those players, right? So I'm thinking of maybe Owen playing a little bit more advanced, kind of like what we would have seen or what we all envisioned Danny doing, like in the more forward 8 role.
Yeah.
There are a couple of our FC2 players, again, Irvin Torres. I'm thinking Jimmy comes back.
Even CJ. I mean,
and
he
CJ.
has a first team contract as well.
Exactly. So I get the feeling that we're going to see those folks in the rotation, but I think the deeper question should be, what will that starting 11 look like at the end of the 4 preseason matches remaining?
Yeah, that natural game when we're playing, like, who's gonna start most likely.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. So, but I don't know. I get the feeling that a lot of those FC2 players are still gonna have a good say in being a part of that rotation in California.
Well, something you got to think about too with the FC2 guys is, like, we have that handful of supplemental spots, right?
Right.
And Roto seems very he's very attentive to the second team roster. They've brought in a lot of guys. We haven't talked about it much, just because we're uninformed, and maybe that's something we'll talk about next week. But he's brought in a lot of talent, right? That could replace some guys, not replacing in terms of being better, but we could see a guy like Irvin Torres, or pick any number of second team guys who have potentially earned a look at the first team.
Right.
We could see a handful of those dudes get some supplemental spots potentially, right? Exactly. Because they know, okay, talent wise, you could stay here and do well, but you've kind of aged out of it. Maybe we sign you to the first team, we loan you out to a USL squad, right? And have you compete there because we see you as a piece for this team in the years ahead. So maybe we see something like that, right? Where the new guys coming into the second team, the new talent takes over. We sign like our top guys, Micah Burton style, and have him feature on the bench or go to USL or whatever it is. There's definitely some potential there to see those guys move and earn something from a good preseason showing.
For sure. I will say, man, I do appreciate your consistent drive to try and address some of those supplemental roster openings there, because I feel like we
gotta fill them up, bro. We gotta fill them up.
I hear you, man. I hear you, but it's just
it's just sitting there.
A lot of those teams out there, they leave them open, whether that's for good or for bad. But
but we got like 5 open right now. That seems a little excessive.
Sure.
At least get halfway to half capacity.
Right.
That's just me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm looking more at the starting 11 and some of those questionable spots. Like we have the Sabovic, Sanchez, Danny, Owen Wolf midfield dilemma, right? Where it's like, depending on what our lineup looks like, are we going to see 2 midfielders or 3? Who are those 2 or 3 going to be? If it's just 2, it gets even more sticky because Danny's earned his spot, right? He's going to be there. Is it going to be Ilya? Is it going to be Sabovic? Or somebody surprising, right?
Right. And can you remind me again? Sorry, but is Sabovic in town? Or is he, along with Azuni, kind of held up right now?
Last I saw, he was still getting his paperwork done.
Okay.
And we haven't seen any... the club would put out.
Damn, that should have been my bold prediction, bro. They don't even touch any of these games.
It's possible. It's definitely possible. I think they're going to prioritize, or they should. I think they should prioritize getting Uzuni here as fast as possible.
Oh, no doubt.
Because DP, right? But looking at those midfield battles, right, where whether it's because of absence, if a guy like Sabovic isn't here in the next week and doesn't get any run in the preseason,
right,
or he does show up and he gets a game or 2 in. Regardless of that, I think a guy like Ilya is going to get his spot. I think he's going to prove that at least to start the year, he is the midfield pairing with Danny. It just depends on when people are available. Like a Sabovic is his biggest competition, in my opinion. Will he be here in time? Regardless, I think Ilya earns that spot. Behind him, I think a guy we've already talked about a lot last week and before that, Zvatok nails down his spot. I think for sure they're going to see him as a day one starter. So obviously these are rotation guys regardless, right? They're leaders on this team, but I think they solidify like I am the starter. And then I think that Julio spot might not be as certain as we think it might be.
I was going to say the Julio or the Leo Weissman spot, man. Because something tells me we're going to see the inverse, low key.
Where it's, PHI.
Yeah. Well, they might start off and then have Julio and Leo start on. You know what I'm saying? For these preseason matches, man.
Yes, for preseason for sure. I think you might be right.
But
there.
I know what you mean. For the 22nd showdown against SKC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, definitely
going to be there.
I think Svartak's going to be there, though. I think Svartak and Ilie solidify their spots by the end of this run and say, okay, I'm the starter. Get over it.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, we'll see. But I mean, the first game will have happened by the time you're listening to this. The Galaxy game is on February 5th. That's Wednesday, yesterday for the listener. And that is streamed. So hopefully you watched it and hopefully we won. But
right.
Again, I think it's, the 8th, February 8th, Saturday.
Yes.
The Fighting Leslie's Drinking Club is hosting that watch party at Turnstile. So maybe we'll see you there.
Yeah.
Moving on to halftime. So last week, we shared that we are adding a recurring segment to the pod called League Correspondence that broadens our footy lens to leagues beyond MLS. The idea here is to expand our understanding of the world's game by following two leagues that occupy different ends of the popularity spectrum, a top flight league and an up-and-coming league. So this year, as announced last episode, we will be tracking Serie A of Italy and the J1 League, Japan's top flight competition. Paul, let's give our first impressions of these leagues. Starting with Serie A, obviously this is a less of a first impression for you, seeing as I know you're familiar, but
sure.
Still, what stands out to you with this league?
Yeah, well, I think for me, off the bat, it's history, it's corruption, it's calcio, defensive footy. But no, in all seriousness, though, I think, definitely you have to give Serie A a little bit of respect and credit there because, they're one of those top 5 leagues in Europe for a reason.
Yep.
But that to say, this year in particular, I know a lot of media attention has been gravitating towards AC Milan for, a little bit more of a niche pick on my end as a Chelsea fanboy, as a lover of, Fabregas and I hate to say it, but like Henry has been a baller, even though he was always a gooner, but and Barcelona and stuff. But anyway, all that to say is they are now heading up the Como 1907 team that battled up through. They got their promotion battle and are now in the top flight. And that's going to be a team that I'm interested in watching right now. They're sitting in 15th, so it's not looking super hot for them, but they're staying above the relegation zone right now, so that's cool. But plenty of teams, with history and notable players to pick from.
It's a story.
Serie A,
right?
Yeah,
I think to me it's, at least in modern history, and for me, this really is a first impression. I have very little following of Serie A or Italian soccer outside of like knowing some of the names, right? Obviously, I know a lot of the clubs, but like knowing some of the big names throughout the league. A lot of the Chelsea guys that are in the league as loans or they were sold to Italy at one point or another. And then the U.S. men's national team players in recent years. A lot of guys have gone there. Obviously, Christian Pulisic. Yunus Musa, we have
Weston McKennie had a stint with Juventus. Yeah,
right. So a lot of guys have been out there and they're doing well, right? They're playing on teams that are performing well and they're leading their teams in many ways. So that's kind of been my very loose first impression. I haven't done much research yet, and I'm excited to. Right, that's my kind of look there. I have done a worst to first FIFA manager career with Serie A before. I picked a Serie B team, the worst team at the time, and got.
Do you remember that team who it was?
Man, I'd have to look it up again. Truly, this was a year and a half ago at this point, probably. But I took whatever that worst team was and took them all the way to the top of Serie A and to Champions League and everything. So that's the extent of my knowledge with Serie A, to be completely honest. And that's why we're doing this, right? I'm naive on purpose going into this because I want to learn more. I know some of the basic things. I know the big teams. I know Ronaldo was there. Like all these big, the big points that stand out over time.
Got to get your Milans right. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. I know Zhao's at AC, Christian's at AC. I don't know who's at Inter, so it doesn't really matter. Got my Chelsea boys at AC Milan.
Right.
To that point, which clubs are you most eager to follow? I know you mentioned a couple, but
So I think for me, it's again going back to Como. as kind of like a lower end of the table pick that I'm hoping stays up.
Yep.
But I think in terms of kind of the more popularized Serie A teams, I'm looking at Roma in particular, because I think they had, the great one as a manager for a while back.
Yeah.
And they had some players that I just remember following, like Paulo Dybala and Tammy Abraham. We're out there, and so I think those are the clubs that I gear to. I also have a soft spot for Roma's like alternate logo, whatever. It's like that kind of wolf style badge, and I just think that looks clean. But yeah, those are the ones that I would that I'll probably end up staying invested during the course of the season and stuff.
In the UEFA Champions League 08 video game, or whichever one that was, like around that time when they put out the Champions League game still, Roma was my go-to team every time.
Hell yeah.
I just had, was it Totti and Buffon were on the team at the same time? Is that right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Totti and Buffon.
Totti was awesome, dude. I thought he was the best player in the world at 13.
Many people do.
A single thing.
Yeah.
That was a fun time. I just totally blanked. When you said Roma, I was like, oh, brain blast.
Right. How about you, man?
Yeah, I mean, so at this point, I do want to point out we are like more than halfway through this season, and that was on purpose, right? We're going to get the rest of spring to follow them. The summer we'll be busy with all the different competitions and whatnot, and then in the fall we'll come back to them. So at this point, a lot of the storylines are kind of complete. I think, we see a lot of like, there's a clear upper echelon of teams in this league, right? So you have the Napolis, Inters, Lazio, etc. Like even Milan, even though on the table, AC Milan, they're not all the way up there, but moving forward with all the big signings they've had recently, they're going to be there going into next season.
For sure.
So anybody with Chelsea players, so AC Milan, right? There's João Felix will be there the rest of this season. Like I'm going to follow that naturally.
Yeah. Heel cook.
Yeah. Right. And we have Casade at, was it Torino? Yeah. So Casade's at Torino. They're middle of the table. I mean, you look at the table now, I mentioned there's the upper echelon. Everything else is kind of just like mired in mediocrity. It's a very clear, like top 4 or 5 clubs that are going to compete every year. And then after that, it's like the bottom, almost half the league is barely getting a point per game,
right?
And so like 23 games in, I think 8 out of the 20 teams are below 23 or 23 points or below. Right. So that's not looking good in terms of that. There's going to be the clear teams that are carrying. I think for me, what I'm looking at in this final stretch outside of Chelsea players, outside of the Pulisic's, McKinney's, etc., is who's just going to put up the most goals and bring in those highlights, right? So I'm looking at teams like Inter. I'm looking at teams like Atalanta. I'm looking at teams like Como, even. You mentioned them. They're a lower tier table team that's putting up a decent amount of goals. I think somebody that's just going to put up highlights to make it interesting to follow. Because, again, there's a lot of mediocrity in this league. So it's going to be hard to find some gems among the bottom half of the league that aren't really producing much.
Right.
So who's going to score some goals to make it look fun?
My boy wants goals always.
Always, dude. If I'm going to go like half watch footy for a season, I'm going to look for goals.
And what you'll find out, well, I mean, there will be some score lines that prove me wrong here, but like Italy is notorious for not scoring goals.
Yeah. I mean, yes. Yeah. Defensively, you can clearly see on the table that like there's a lot of the teams that are doing well have great defenses. So
yeah.
I'm excited, man.
But yeah.
Now,
what about the other one?
The J1, this is where things get fun. So we mentioned there's the two ends of the spectrum. You have the top 5 flight league, right, being Serie A. Then you have the upcoming league that not many people are aware of. I will say up front, J1 League is a real homie because all of their content is free online for everyone. You can watch every game live on their website. They host all of it themselves. All the highlights are there. Like it's all right there on their website. So check it out.
We'll make sure to link that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we will. So J1 League, we're going to give a little bit more of a background because most people aren't very familiar. And for those who are, shout out to you because that's awesome.
You know ball.
So their league profile is similar to MLS with some fun wrinkles, right? So the modern era of the league started in the late 90s, similar to MLS. But in this case, the league announced their 100-year vision. This introduced a 3-tier football pyramid with the J1, J2, and J3 leagues, and a plan to host 100 professional football clubs by 2092, which would be the 100-year anniversary of the inception of the J League in the current standing. As of the 2024 season, there are 60 clubs among the 3 tiers, 20 per league. And currently the league calendar starts in February and goes through December, very much like MLS.
Mm-hmm.
But this will change in fall 2026, where the league will adopt the traditional fall-spring calendar, again, much like the MLS is rumored to be doing. Each season is 38 matches, and the club with the highest accumulation of points wins the league, a la the Premier League and many other leagues that we're all familiar with. Right. The J League is a promotion relegation league where 3 spots are available for promotion and relegation in each tier. So I say I'll share this just to kick it off. Like, my first impression is that this is everything I wish MLS was, right?
Bingo.
It's very much in line with the English, the traditional European style of football, with the pyramid, relegation, promotion. And it's modern, right? Similar to MLS. Mm-hmm. It's a league that started in the 90s and they were able to figure it out. And they're looking at growth in numbers, not just growth in dollars for the owners. So I think that's very interesting. All that to say is, Paul, what are your true first impressions of J1 League?
I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you. First impression, Blue Lock, dude. Like that anime, like the soccer anime.
Yes, sir.
It was just like one of those things I was like, well, dude, we're going to get to finally cover this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Should we watch Blue
Lock? Anyway,
we have not seen it, but I think we should.
We should
be real homies about it. But that said, I think it's really cool because I've always enjoyed watching the Japanese national football team when it comes to these like big international tournaments like the World Cup and stuff. But that said, the first impression as I was reading about it was that, like, I think it's so cool to still see a league that very much has its history in like similar to like in Europe, right? Where it's like these workers that come together and like create the teams that eventually go professional. But like here, it's like it's actual like corporations and like corporate teams. And so it's just cool to see like a Yamaha or like a Fujitsu,
Yokohama, Kawasaki, right?
Yeah, all those brands that we're familiar with here in the States. So I think that's cool. But also the parity and the similarities between our league in MLS and J League, I can't help but go like, man, like just like you said, dude, like I wish we had some of that, you know?
Yeah. And they're a league of parity too, which is very 100. Much in line with MLS. Like if you look at the standings last year, I won't go into like I won't go team by team, but it's like 72, 68, 66, 65, 56, 54, 52. Like it goes down like in order.
Yeah.
There's no clear chunks of like upper echelon, lower tier. It's like 2 to 4 points separating each team all the way down to the bottom of the table. Like, for example, last year in J1 League, the best team in 38 matches finished with 72 points, right? Great season. Only lost 8 games.
Yeah.
The worst team finished with 35 points, right? Which if you go 19 teams between them, that's about 37 points. Like they're only a 2 points per team in between each one, right? Whereas you look at Serie A and it's 60 something to 18 or something. There's a huge gap
disparity
between
there.
The top and the bottom. This one is very like 2 points per team. Like it separates each team all the way down.
Yes.
So this literally on a numbers basis is parity when it comes to where how this league finishes.
For sure.
Which again is very much like MLS. They've had 9 different champions in the last 25 years, right? Yeah. Many would say, "Oh, that's nothing," but that's still very good. Every other year, you're going to get a new champion, most likely, more likely than not.
And it's cool because from what you can see, it's like these champions kind of have their moments too, where it's like it's not ever just like a one-off. It's usually like a team will go up and then win a year or two or what have you, and then fall off and someone else will kind of pick up. So it is really cool like that. But
it's fun. Man. What teams are you most excited to follow from what we've seen so far?
So I think I remember when I first started looking up. So let me explain how I first got into like the J League. During the pandemic, there was this. I'm about to out myself big here, but like there's this crypto game. I don't know if it's still got that vibe to it, but basically, oh gosh, I shared this with you when we first started talking. But it's like the crypto like soccer cards or whatever.
Yeah,
like the
So Rare.
So rare, yes,
Yeah.
and I think they're a lot bigger now than they were at the start of the pandemic. But
Yeah.
basically, I was looking for players with the calendar or like with leagues in a similar calendar as the MLS, and I saw the J League and
Yeah.
a couple players, and the first names that stood out to me were like the Yokohama FC and Urara Red Diamonds,
Yep.
and Yokohama specifically because that's where old man Iniesta had been balling out for a little bit.
That's right.
Getting a bag, and like David Villa was out there, and so it's just like they were somehow attracting these like players way past their prime to still go and kick it, and so like that team stood out to me, and then also just Urara Red Diamonds, like that name has so much aura, like I can't.
It does.
Aurora, like I just crazy, bro. So yeah, those are the clubs that I'm looking at. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much right there with you, man. It's pretty much clean slate. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of storylines develop. Once this season starts.
The league has a lot of, I mean, obviously a lot of great homegrown talent, Japanese talent, and whatnot, but they have a lot of Brazilians balling the fuck out there, dude.
Right. Oh yes,
and
big import.
Yeah, for sure. The teams I'm looking at, again, this is 100% first takes. I've done very little research. I'm gonna start at EAFC manager mode with one of these clubs, just FYI, I can follow, just see all the different players and storylines play out in the game while I'm watching over the season. But what I'm looking at most, I'm excited about the promotion relegation piece, right? Because having only watched MLS and the Prem consistently, the Prem is my only consistent peek into what promotion relegation looks like. Right. And because it is such a top heavy league at times, the teams that get promoted don't stick around often in the last few years that I've watched. So I want to see how that plays out, if there is a difference. Those clubs that promoted between the leagues this year were Shimizu S Pulse, Yokohama FC, and then Okayama were the three teams that got promoted into League One this year. So I'm excited to see what those teams do. Shimizu is a very high scoring team, at least last year, assuming they kept some of their talent and added even more. They score goals. They score over 2 a game, right? So about 2 a game. And so on paper, they look like they're going to be a fun team to watch. They dominated last year in the J2 league with 82 points. So I'm just excited to see what a team like that can do and how it'll be a good peek and, loosely informed peek into how the two leagues compare talent wise. Can this club replicate anything close to what they did in the J2 league last year? We'll see, what reasons are that for? So I'm excited to see what that looks like. Other than that, I just want to look for the players that stand out, right? The good, the dynamic wingers, the dominating strikers, the defender, the destroying midfielders, right? Like those kind of guys that just make the game fun to watch. So we'll definitely have to announce like our game of the week or something like that here and there and say, here, let's watch this one for sure and see what happens.
For sure. Because I think what we were planning on doing was just maybe checking in on these leagues and giving like a high level overview. I think was it once a month?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so, like a halftime segment like this.
Yeah, and then obviously like maybe on socials we can maybe do a little little
and we'll keep up with these leagues in Stoppage week to week as well. So there's a constant like, hey, here was the big news from this league that we found, and then we could do a monthly recap or something. But it won't dominate the airtime like it has this episode, for example. We're just giving you the big overview while we're waiting for Austin to do something. Yeah. But moving forward, it'll be just a quick dip into something that is intriguing to us and just give us a more broad, diverse perspective on what footy looks like globally. So
hell yeah.
Anyway, with that, we'll end it here. Look out for the J League highlights, Serie A highlights. To be honest, it's going to be a lot of U.S. men's national team and Chelsea from Serie A. So it's not like it's not going to be
by him. For me, it'll probably be something about like a new kit drop or something like that.
Exactly.
Benicia always be bringing that fire. But anyway,
J League. Speaking of fire, they have great branding in J League, so I'm excited about that.
Love it, bro. Mizuno, come on now.
I'm excited, bro. All right. We're going to take a quick break before we get into our first reveal and react of 2025.
Let's go.
And we're back. And like I said, we're going to do our first reveal and react of 2025. Let's not waste any time and let's get right into it. We're going to do 2 each. So, Paul, I'm going to start with you. What is your first reveal so I can react?
Awesome, G. I just dropped a link to you, my guy, for the listener.
Indeed, you did.
This is a link to the Coachella Valley Invitational website here. Yes. And specifically, this is a media announcement here that's saying A&D Gray Media to televise MLS and NWSL matches live from the Coachella Valley Invitational. Now, I did not do my due diligence prior to sharing said article because upon review, it looks like they are only showing this in select home markets, and Austin apparently is not one of them. So that sucks because I was actually really looking forward to maybe not having to use the booty stream like from last year. But
yeah.
Hey, Lobar, react to that.
Yeah, it looks like you're right, man. Like the LA Galaxy, I'm looking at this grid of the schedule here, the spreadsheet schedule, and the only channel for any Austin FC one is the other teams or like the other cities, right? So, for example, the LA Galaxy game just has LA's Fox.
So, I mean, if you are a VPN guru and want to...
Nah, bro. I trust my club to give me a mid-quality stream that I'll...
I guess, bro. That it was just not fun last year. It was not the best. What's up with
Fox 7, bro? Why are they doing that?
I don't know, bro. I mean,
isn't Corey Mills on that? Is he Fox 7 or the Verde Lights guy?
I have no idea, bro.
I can't remember what channel.
I'm boxing somebody at Fox 7, though. That's all I know. That's my reaction.
We got to talk to our syndicate cable folks, news folks that are covering the team and see what they say. Why we didn't get it. Is that what it's called? Syndicate? I don't even know. I picked a word that I saw.
Big words right now on a podcast.
Straight up there. I worked all day. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I blame that.
Heard that. Bro, show me something. I'm trying to react.
That is cool, but also lame. I wanted that's just
that's my fault. That's my fault. I promise you number 2. I promise you number 2 is coming with heat, bro.
Okay. All right. My first one. There are potentially unsubstantiated rumors on Twitter that
we're doing great right now.
That's what we're here for, bro. I'm revealing some shit that I saw on Twitter so you can react to it.
That's it. Please.
There are rumors that 2 different La Liga clubs are looking at Brandon Vasquez. The Brandon Vasquez that just signed to Austin about 3 weeks ago. That Brandon Vasquez. They're looking at him for immediate answers to fix their shit clubs.
Oh,
meaning either they would buy him right now.
Right.
Because they lost the negotiations with Monterrey. So they're going to try to buy him from us or something. I don't really understand that. Or they want to loan him. These are 2 clubs. I don't even remember what they were, to be honest. But I just know that there's rumors here for a player we just bought for 10 mil. And that seems weird. What are your reactions?
I mean, the audacity, brother. The audacity to turn around and realize this guy just inked a deal, bro.
Yep.
And be like, hey, can we... Nah, bro. Like, respectfully, the fuck out of here.
There's got to be a 60-day period where he can't be resold or some shit like that.
Right. But hear me out though. If the price is right,
you know, 20 mil if they give us 20 mil.
Hey, if it starts with a 2, bro, like I gotta listen to the offer. You know what I'm saying? We got these cash trades now in MLS, bro. We'll just
get a Vander, bro.
Oh, no, we pluck Jovic from SKC, bro.
Yeah.
You know, and that energy just keeps on permeating throughout global footy. So,
isn't that weird though? It just seems so.
It does. It is very weird.
So you either you didn't approach Monterrey for some reason,
right?
Or you did and you lost the negotiations to us, and now you're going to try to pay us. I don't like
it.
Have you seen the marketing? He's our guy. Get over it. All right, what's your second one, Paul?
All right, bro. For this one, listener. You got to close your eyes, Lobar, but for the listener, I'm going to explain in just a second, but first I have to change.
Oh, you're changing? I think if you don't leave the camera, YouTube's going to get mad, so. Oh, he did. Okay, cool.
All right, bro, look.
Can I look now?
You can look now.
Oh, shit. Is that the new merch?
Where do my hands go, dog? Where do my hands go, Chief?
They go nowhere.
They ain't going nowhere.
Oh my god!
I ended up getting it like a dummy fool. I did.
After the no pockets, or you tweeted about the or storied about the no pockets because you bought it.
Well, no, I definitely did the story before making the purchase, but that was my way of kind of getting all that energy out before the cash went out. But
dropping a
yeah,
bag.
Yeah.
That looks fire though, dude. That looks fire.
Thanks, man. Yeah. So for the listener, I changed into the new 2025 whatever like team hoodie that's got kind of that retro multi-paneling from Adidas.
Yep.
But no hand pockets, you know, that I made such a big deal about.
Yeah. If you follow us on Instagram, Paul went on a little like 6 Instagram story rant.
Yeah.
Taking each picture from the post that Austin FC was like getting on the plane wearing this merch. And he's like, no hand pockets though, to every single picture.
Yeah.
Hey, it looks good, man. It looks good.
I mean, I feel great in it, dude.
You could have been in that photo shoot, bro. You could have been one of the carousel photos of just you wearing it.
I mean, I do have a header on me. I will say that. So
true. True.
It fits. But
it looks great, man. But
thanks, man.
Where are the pockets?
Yeah, brother.
In
my shorts right now. That's where they're at. They're not here.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Right. Anyway. Close us out, G.
Oh, I can close this out, and I'm going to take the harshest left turn of all time because I'm going to change sports because this shit's crazy.
Oh, I already have a feeling.
The NBA trade deadline is approaching, and a crazy-ass trade happened the other day to our resident Slovenians countryman, Luka
Never got
Doncic.
to see him play, bro.
I know, dude. That was my first thought. It's like, Jean's never going to see him play, dude.
Right.
Anyway, Luka Doncic got traded to the Lakers for old ass Anthony Davis and pennies, and that was crazy.
Yeah, bro. So it broke the internet.
It did, dude.
Yeah, because that was over the weekend, right? Was that Sunday or Saturday?
Like the days blur together, but
yeah,
it broke.
The day I wasn't working
with the North End.
Yeah, right.
We were just like, what the.
Right.
To compare it, the way we compared it to Paul, who knew what was happening, but we were just being dramatic.
Yeah.
It's essentially Chelsea trading Cole Palmer for like Man City's Gundogan. You know?
Yeah.
He's great. He's still very good, but he's old.
He's past his prime.
Past his prime. AD is still doing great. I don't want to talk shit on him. This isn't about that. But just the fact that the main point I'll say is the Spurs traded a guy like DeJounte Murray for 4 first-round picks and a player and pick swaps, and the Lakers or the Mavericks got 1 pick in 5 years. And
that's awful.
Anthony Davis, who will be 37 by the time that pick conveys. So that's tough.
Yeah. A lot of Dallas fans out there were big mad.
I know we were texting a lot of people like Logan Clark. He texted us, was like, what's happening?
Right.
On good news, though, De'Aaron Fox got traded to the Spurs for pennies on the dollar. That. So
yeah.
Wemby has his running mate.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Anyway, that's my reveal and react. That's not soccer coded.
We're talking basket.
Exactly right. For this
boy. That's crazy, though. That is wild. My reaction is
MLS deadline. Wow. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, let's sprint through the stoppage time because we've
gone long enough. Running, dog.
Let's
real
run
quick.
All right, top of the order here. Josh Wolf joins Ben Olsen's staff in Houston, and with him, baby Gavin Wolf is transferred to Houston Academy for up to $100K in GAM and a 20% sell-on clause.
Less shit. Go next.
Fleeced.
Right.
You guys get Josh Wolf, and we get the rights to his son still.
20%.
20%. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Nah. Shout out Josh Wolf. Hold it down, bro. With your U.S. men's
Agent Josh. Team, that's all I gotta say, bro. Dude, Agent Josh.
Right. I mean, we don't even need that because Houston can't beat us for shit. But
I'm just hey.
I know. I'm here for it. The U.S. men's national team circle jerk continues.
Right.
Damian Loss has been loaned out to Louisville City, nipping all of my potential. Ooh, what if Stephen Cleveland gets sold and we get another conversation in the butt? What are your thoughts there?
As a child of divorce, I just want to say that, like, I feel for that situation where we got to wait for dad to come meet us at that spot, you know,
DQ
to
in
do the
Brenham,
drop
Texas.
off and make sure you get a receipt from the Wendy's.
Yep.
You know, just to make sure you get the time stamp so that way when you go to court, it's weird, man.
I hear that.
So Damien, I'm here with you, brother. You'll make it out okay.
Yeah. One day Brad will be gone and you can hopefully be the number one.
Yes.
We'll
number
see.
one in our hearts.
In our hearts. No, it's true. That for me was the Dairy Queen in Brenham, Texas that my parents met at to do the swap. So
hell yeah.
I got my chicken finger basket every time.
Hell yeah, bro. I always got a Frosty at Wendy's, but I feel that.
There you go.
Anyway.
All right. Joveljic, the LA Galaxy striker, has moved to Sporting Kansas City. Paul mentioned earlier we might nab him when we sell Brandon Vasquez for 20 mil.
Right.
But this was the first cash for player trade, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Since the change.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't. So I think my initial thoughts are, haha, it wasn't Evander, or haha, it wasn't Lucho Acosta, because those were the two big names that were scheduled to kind of take part in this program.
For sure.
And it ends up being a much younger, more in prime. I say more in prime, but like definitely, you know, MLS winner, cup winner, in form, all that good stuff. So good move for SKC. I think he's going to do much better than Alan Pulido ever did.
Yep.
And yeah, going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be good for them. It's going to be more competition in the West.
Sure.
Speaking of big transfers, Cucho Hernandez is gone. He has been sold from Columbus to Real Betis for $16 million plus add-ons. I was talking with my coworker today, Adam, who is a Columbus Crew fan, and he was distraught this morning. He was like, "What's happening? My prospects for the future have plummeted."
Right.
Yeah, it's tough, man. The narrative is that it was a undersell. They could have got more for him. I would agree.
Yeah, 16 seems. Yeah, 16 seems like not a lot.
No,
I'm pretty sure. Did Mickey go for more than that from Atlanta? To Newcastle?
You,
I don't know.
Yeah, I would imagine it was a lot, but
yeah, that's wild though. I will say though, Mucho Betis, you know, they've got, you know, Isco coming back from just not doing a whole lot at Madrid.
Yeah,
and what's the little spin boy on the ball, Anthony, yes. United legend. Yeah, he's gonna be balling with some ballers up there, man. Good for him.
For sure. Yeah, it's apparently it was a whole Columbus national team conversation that is from Taylor Twellman. The whole reasoning, Columbia national team for the Columbus player. They were calling saying, "Hey, if you want to be on the team still, the national team, you got to go to England,
crazy,
Spain, Italy, whatever our team, our leagues are that we choose, and
go be in this middle tier."
Exactly.
La Liga team.
Don't dominate CONCACAF.
Right.
Sorry. Which is funny because that team is mostly players in like Brazil, Colombia. Like half their team is in non-top flight leagues. I mean, Brazil is a great league. I will say that they're top 5, top 6 league according to world rankings. But still, they could have sold them to. Apparently, there were like rumors of Brazilian teams that were trying to pay a lot more for him, and that would have matched half of his teammates who were on Brazilian teams. So like, I don't really. They could have made more money. Apparently, they did right by the player, though, because that's what he wanted if he wanted to move. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Looking at another guy, John Duran, sold to Al Nassr for $80 million. Right. The Chicago Fire recoup another almost $9 million to raise their total transfer haul for the player to $30 million since the initial sale, including add-ons and everything else.
That's great business, honestly. Yep. You know, and the funny part is Greg Berhalter is going to get all the credit for that.
Yeah, right. For real. Even though this was years ago.
Right. That's a joke, people. That's a joke. But no, seriously. Honestly, that's kind of wild because I think he was in a really good spot at Villa. But I guess he wants to be the main man. Totally cool. And he's getting the bag.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's funny because he's another Colombian national team player.
Yeah.
That moved to a shittier league. And meanwhile, here's Cucho.
A soon to be defunct league, bro.
Exactly. So, like, he's going to keep getting play, obviously. So, it's funny. It's just funny. The hot and coldness of it.
Always.
we mentioned CONCACAF earlier. The CONCACAF Champions Cup starts tonight for the recording. So 2 days ago for the listener, this is Tuesday night. 27 teams in total are competing, 10 from MLS. It's a 5-round competition. First 4 rounds are home and away. And the final, which is scheduled for June 1st, is a winner take all. What are your thoughts on this? Who's going to win it? What's up?
Violet all the way.
Did they make it? No, I think it's...
I have no idea, brother. I was just going off vibes.
Is the name of the Haitian team.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
No, I mean, respectfully, I think I put this down as one of the points to add on, but I could care less for CONCACAF Champions Cup, honestly.
Yeah.
Until Austin comes back, this is a nothing for me.
Yeah, I think a good chunk of the MLS teams don't even start playing until the 2nd or 3rd round, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right. Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of the smaller CONCACAF nations taking each other on to start off to thin the herd.
Isn't it wild? Isn't it wild that the first thought that comes to your head, or my head, when you hear CONCACAF Champions Cup is that 3-0 defeat away? And just that band playing that same repetitive...
With the giant tree in the back of the goal.
Giant tree, brother. Amro Tarek.
Without going too off the chain here, I was in Mexico for my brother-in-law's wedding, essentially.
Yeah.
And we were in Oaxaca on the beach, vibing. And
Good
the
cheese.
night that game happened, I got food poisoning later that night. So it was like a whole thing of like just watching the game highlights on my phone. Like, this is tough, while like checking into a very nice, like a hotel place with family, and then like eating food that wasn't good for me, and then feeling like shit after we lose 3-0. It was like a whole thing. So when I think of that CCC, I think of Violet, which makes me think of being sick in Oaxaca.
Right.
Just a whole piling
It's
on.
tough, man. It's tough.
I know.
But we're still fans through and through. You decided to do a podcast after watching that and experience all that. That's crazy, bro.
Did we start after that?
I believe we started after that, G.
Fuck, we did, dude. That was in March 2022.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, bro.
Yes, sir.
I did decide to do a podcast after that.
Yeah.
Damn. And y'all decided to listen. Who's the bigger loser here?
Right. Hey, don't.
I'm kidding. We appreciate
Listener, he doesn't mean that. He loves you.
No, exactly. Closing this out with Chelsea, as always.
Yes.
Maresca bests Potter as Chelsea beats West Ham 2-1 in unexpected fashion, that being the first comeback for a win at the Bridge in about a decade.
And to clarify, that's comeback when down at the half.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Yes. We were down 1-0 at the half. Any other time we would have done that would have been a draw at best since 2014. So
2013. But yeah. That shit's wild, dude.
We did it.
Basically, Maresca's him, bro.
Pretty much.
Back at it. Can do no wrong.
I was sad for about 57 minutes and pretty frustrated.
Yeah. I mean, I was frustrated at Colwell because he's the reason that they scored first.
That was ridiculous. Yeah.
But
it worked out.
Anyway,
shout out Cole Palmer. Shout out Pedro.
Yes. Shout out Pedro for real. The subs really did change that game.
So. For sure. Yeah, Gusto and Pedro on that right side were really holding it down, creating pretty much anything they wanted to.
That's it.
It was nice. Very happy for us. And also, shout out Grant Parter. You're still trash.
We're going to win the fucking Champions League.
We'll see about that.
I just can't forget that little soundbite, man. Oh, that was great.
Tough, bro. Not with West Ham.
No, never.
We appreciate y'all kicking it with us on this week's episode of the Verdependent podcast. I'm Logan Bartlett. Catch me on Twitter at LobarVHLM.
And I'm Paul. You can catch me on Twitter at PaulAndrewFC. It's a government name.
Through and through. Yeah. Keep the chatter going online by following at the Verdependent on socials. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on... What else are we on?
We're going to be better about Blue Sky.
Yes.
But we're on there.
We
see y'all.
Do that. So we're on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
So those are the ones. Next week, we welcome Eric Goodman to the pod to discuss season expectations and predictions for the second season running. So look out for that. We're excited to have Eric on again. I think that'll be his third appearance on the podcast. Yeah. And with that, that's an episode, y'all.
Nice.
Peace. Oh, why are you screaming at me?
Oh my god.